he would be over there by the sink distilling whiskey. You wouldn't be able to stop him. Even if you told him, like, listen, Clyde, it's illegal. He would be like, no, I got to do this for the people.
So did he predate NASCAR? Or the origins of NASCAR?
I think he may have.
Okay, just wondering. Welcome everyone to episode 76 of The Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. We're your hosts, Anthony and Steven. Hello, Mr. Anthony.
Hello, sir. How are you tonight?
Doing well.
You know what's frustrating?
What is frustrating?
Trying to get shoes. And so you're probably
I went to Shoe Carnival like a month ago and I got some stuff on sale. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm not talking about the old Shoe Carnival.
Okay.
I'm talking about the sneakers app. So, Nike, they have a sneakers app. Do you know about that?
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah. So for those of us for those of you who don't know in the listening audience, like I'm kind of a sneakerhead.
You dabble?
I dabble. Yeah, I dabble a little bit. That's probably like next to bourbon, one of my favorite hobbies, and actually probably predates my bourbon journey and
hence
collecting.
Your IG name.
Yes, which is Professor Kicks.
Right.
That's right. So I maintain the Professor Kicks, even though I do post a lot of beer and bourbon and other things on there besides shoes. Anybody that's ever used the sneakers app knows that you always enter draws or put into pie shoes, and probably 90% of the time you never get the opportunity because it just says, sorry, didn't work out this time. And so I was on vacation. It was during one of the vacations to South Carolina where I'm out in the middle of nowhere in a boat, and I put in the draw for a pair of sneakers that I really wanted, a pair of shoes, the Jordan 2s. They're like a special edition Jordan 2. I don't have any models of Jordan 2. I hit. It was like a really nice pair, and I had the pair of ones that were redesigned by the French designer, so I was like really like stoked to get this pair of shoes. So it automatically charged your account. They're supposed to be shipped. They ship out of like Nashville or Memphis, and so it usually takes like 2 days to get the shoes. Well, there was a huge delay. Then they finally get shipped. They end up in Louisville, and then they just disappear. It's like there's no tracking updates after they leave Louisville. And I'm like, how in the hell did this happen? And so I go through the process. I talk to Nike customer service. They're no help. They're telling me to contact UPS. I'm like, why do I have to contact UPS when I didn't ship the shoes? And they're like, that's our protocol, sir. I'm like, but I'm not in the warehouse. I didn't pack the product. Like, why am I the one that has to do the work here? And so I never called UPS, but I called Nike a few times, and then finally got to the conclusion I wasn't going to get my shoes. And they were like, well, is there anything we can do for you? And I'm like, no.
Have my shoes?
Yeah, have my shoes. I'm like, I really want the shoes. Well, we can give you the refund. And if the shoes show up, then we can give you a charge back. I'm like, oh, man. So I know I could go out and buy the shoes on the secondary market, which I don't want to do. I always pride myself in trying to get things.
Market
yeah, exactly.
Here.
Yeah, enough secondary market on bourbon.
Yeah.
And so it was the most frustrating experience. And you know what I ended up doing?
What?
I actually
deleted. You went to Shoe Carnival.
No. I should go to Shoe Carnival. It'd be a lot less frustrating because they had shoes stacked to the ceiling, deals going all the time, right?
You
like
spin the wheel.
They're like, hey, if you're in aisle 3 right
you
now,
get a shoe.
You get a shoe. You get 30% off, and everybody's like screaming and run up to the front. Yeah, I like Shoe Carnival. It is. Yeah. It's like a damn carnival. Yeah. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And so I actually deleted the Nike and sneakers app off my phone.
Oh,
and I have not had them for now almost a month and a half, and I miss it tremendously. But you know what? I'm just like kind of tired of these corporations doing whatever they want, and whether the shoes were stolen, damaged, or whatever. I know things happen in shipping. I hold grudges, man. Like I'm just like, I like my sneakers. I'm a sneakerhead. I'm not gonna like full on just discount it, but I just don't want to go through that process. It just was such a crappy feeling, right?
So using this app, how often do sneakers come out that are like a hot thing?
Oh, they come out like usually like the really hot ones. I would say on average there's multiple drops a month, but I would say like I would say there's 2 that people are really after on average every month, like really, really after.
So this is kind of like Best Buy's like Tuesday or Thursday CD drop back in the day.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Or it's like trying to buy a rye, well-aged rye off seal box. You talk about an experience where I'm like, at least when I sit down in front of the computer trying to buy something off seal box that's allocated, I know that all the bots are getting it, and I have no chance, and so I don't really feel that bad when I don't get it. And occasionally I have got things off there, so I'm like, all right, but man, that is like botted up to craziness, and there's just no chance of ever getting anything that's limited from there. So I try my best, but maybe they'll go to some kind of lottery system that I can be frustrated with in the future.
Well, you need a better hobby that doesn't frustrate you.
That's true. Right?
Yeah.
You need something that brings peace, right?
So, Anthony, we had no reviews this week. I think we finally caught up to all of them. So, if we've missed you, we're sorry. And if anyone wants a review, please leave a review of us on Apple Podcast, and we'll get to you as soon as we can.
Yeah, Apple Podcasts or Facebook. And if we did miss your review, leave us another review, and then we'll see it this time. We'll get it. So we'll get it right.
So, Anthony, for this week, we have a bottle of Clyde May's straight bourbon whiskey, and this is a pick.
Yes, sir. So Clyde May's is not a brand I know a ton about, but the distillery, it says bottled in Conaque Ridge Distillery, which is in Auburndale, Florida, but this is actually distilled in Indiana. We know what that means. It's made at the factory in MGP. The bottle date is 2020. The ABV is 46%. It's 92 proof. It's non-age stated, but rumor is based on their regular product and everything else is probably around 5 years old. The mash bill is 54% corn, 36% rye, and 10% malted barley. So it's MGP's high rye mash bill. The MSRP is $40, but we do have a really quick, interesting story about that.
So, for some reason, I got in my head that I want to buy this bottle.
Okay.
I don't know why.
You just like the way it looked, I guess.
I guess.
We can talk about that with the bottle design.
Right. So the time came to where I was going to buy the bottle.
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay, it's whatever, $40-ish. And then I noticed, I was like, oh, sweet, it's a pick. I was like, a single barrel pick for 40. I was like, well, this is a good time to buy.
Yeah.
$40.
Yeah.
So I go up to the cash register with it. I think it was the only one, too. And it wasn't coming up.
Oh, like not at all. Like it was like lost inventory.
They were scanning it and it wasn't coming up. So manager came over and was like, asked me like, about the bottle. I'm like, well, I just got it from the row of Clyde May over there. And they looked and it wasn't in the system. And so we went back there and he looked and it was $40. And he came back to me. He's like, this shouldn't be $40. You're not going to do this again, are you? I'm like, what am I doing?
What are you doing?
What am I doing here?
Yeah. Like you went in looking for that, like you were trying to rob him from a $40 pick or whatever. Yeah.
I hid this behind the Dom Perignon, and I came back and knew you had an empty row of Clyde Mays, and I went and bought it.
I put it in the aisle with a bunch of Armagnac, and nobody noticed it.
And so I got this pick for around $40, when I'm sure it should have been like mid 60s. Yeah, I think that the picks range between 50 and 65. Right.
Yeah.
So that is how I got this bottle. And so finally when I decided to pull trigger, I think I got a good deal.
I think you did too. Very nice.
The bottle. I think our Instagram did a little post on this, like probably last year, where I kind of gathered up all these similar bottle shapes. I took a picture. If you've seen a Stag Junior,
yes.
If you've seen the Russell Reserve, if you've seen the Clyde Mays, and what was the other one?
Oh, I think it was the barrel. Was it the barrel?
Was it Heaven Hill 7?
There was a distillery. What's a distillery with like the white label?
In Paris, Kentucky.
Yeah, which one is that?
I forgot the name of it, but yes, that's it.
Hartfield
Company.
Yeah, Hartfield Company.
They all have the same kind of fat, short bottle.
Generic shape, yeah.
And so I just kind of making a joke by posting all these together. Like, what looks similar about these guys?
Well, if you look at it, it is very similar, but it has this nice label that's embossed, like it's raised. It almost looks like the old school comic book covers where you're like, I want the special edition.
Yes.
This kind of looks like a comic book cover because
you.
It's got like multiple colors on it. The writing's in blue. And then there's a picture of Clyde Mays there.
With his front curl.
Yeah. He got the front curl. He's got a little smile. He looks like
a bootlegger.
He might be a bootlegger. Yeah. They should just put on his shirt there, bootlegger, because they do kind of stress that on the label, like about the history of the brand and talking a little bit about Clyde May and all the mischievous things that he's gotten into. But all in all, it's a pretty nice looking bottle, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It has the one thing I hate about it.
What's that?
I'm sure. So we said it's a 2020. I think that's when I got this.
Mm-hmm.
They have a tag for the actual pick instead of like some sort of, permanent fixture on the bottle.
Yeah, so it's got that like
neck
just this
tag.
little elastic with a piece of paper that's just around the neck, and it just says like, what does it say here? It's hand selected by Total Wine.
Oh, those Total Wine people.
Yeah, but yeah, it's pretty nice. It's kind of steeped in history.
Yeah.
But it's an attractive bottle. Like, I definitely notice it, and I've seen Clyde Mays before, and it's not, it's caught my eye.
Yeah, I think it's just the color choices they decided to go with on the front, with the red and the yellow or the white and the black and blues, and just got a lot of unique symbols and stuff on it to make it kind of stand out on its own.
Yeah, the biggest thing that's like throwing me off here, though, and I'll just be honest, is like, what is the deal with this? Because in the back it says Auburndale, Florida. Then in the front it says Alabama, USA. I get that Clyde Mays is an Alabama brand, but and I think they're working to reconcile this, with the distillery and a visitor center and stuff in Alabama and Troy, Alabama. But that's very confusing to me as a consumer to see Alabama on the front, Florida on the back, and also Indiana.
You know what this reminds me of?
What's that?
OKI.
Yes, it is. It's like
3 states.
It's the OKI of the South.
The hat trick was for this bottle to get the create it.
And I've seen others in Kentucky that do this too, where it's like it's from this county, but it's from this city, and the distillate comes from somewhere else. So
before we get to our notes, longtime listeners will know that we've kind of referenced this little joke that we kind of had about Clyde Mays over the year and a half or so far. That it's vanilla tasting bourbon.
Yeah, and the funny thing about this is I've never actually tasted Clyde
That's the funny part. I think I'm the only one that's done it, and I just made this.
No, but I think Michael had at some point in time too, didn't he?
I'm sure. I'm sure
he had. And then so the two of them are talking about, oh yeah, this could be like Clyde Mays, and I'm like, okay, well,
I don't understand
that this might be either a great bourbon, a terrible bourbon. I'm not quite sure. I just didn't quite get the reference, but we have kind of poked fun, I would say. At Clyde Mays.
I don't know if it's fun. It's just that it's like when you see a picture of somebody and they look like everyone else.
Yeah.
This is what I mean by vanilla bourbon. It's just like it's got the vanilla bourbon. It's got the flavor of what you want. Nothing more, nothing less, nothing stands out, nothing missing.
That's true.
Yeah. It's just there, and that's about all I have to say about it.
Okay. Well, I'm now eager to see if that's how that matches up with what we end up trying. But I will say this. We should feel ashamed of ourselves for poking fun at old Clyde May. I mean, he was born in the Depression.
Okay.
He went and served in the military.
Oh,
okay.
There you go.
This is a little bit of the marketing story, Stephen. Bear with me, okay? Give me the moment. And then everything he did in his life, the guy just couldn't keep his hands off of a still. Like, he was distilling everywhere he went. It was like, walk out the back door, I'm going to distill. Go to the grocery store, I'm distilling. Go to talk to my friends. They got a still over there. I'm distilling. And so he distilled so much moonshine. He was such a prolific bootlegger that he actually got locked up for, I think it said 8 months.
Yeah,
8
I remember that.
months of hard time on the bottle and in the literature. And so Clyde Mays was actually kind of a rebel outlaw who was just distilling all over the place. I mean, right now, if he was here in your basement, he would be over there by the sink distilling whiskey. You wouldn't be able to stop him. Even if you told him, listen, Clyde, it's illegal. He would be like, no, I got to do this for the people.
So did he predate NASCAR? Or the origins of NASCAR?
I think he may have.
Okay. Just wondering. Real history here.
Real history.
We're
giving you the best history you can. But I mean, honestly, when you read about it, it just talks a lot about his bootlegging experience. And I couldn't help but think, if dude was alive today, he would be he might have a still attached to him.
On his back.
Walking around with the backpack still.
Yeah.
Still distilling in the garden. Hey, what are you doing over there, honey? Nothing. I'm just going to go out and pick the tomatoes. As soon as the door shuts, I'm distilling whiskey. Get out of the way.
Yeah. Go get his corn and start going at it. Well, speaking of grains, should we go for our first notes?
Yeah, sounds great.
Personally, I'm curious about your experience with this bottle, Anthony.
It's a warming nose. It almost so we talk about vanilla, but let me give you a new dimension of vanilla. It's almost like a vanilla scented candle that you might have in the kitchen.
I got you. Like a vanilla cookie.
Yeah, maybe a cookie, but like a cookie would almost be too sweet. This almost smells like a little bit. I hate to say it like this because it sounds like a diss, but it's not. It's almost like a generic smelling vanilla, like a, you know.
This is interesting wording you're using.
Yeah, filling the air with the aromas of the candle.
No, I meant the word generic.
Oh, generic. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, we have used that, haven't you? You said that in the past. I didn't say it. A little bit of oak undertones. What's interesting is I'm used little honey. Yeah, there's a little honey. Yeah, there is honey. What's throwing me off here is I'm used to tasting MGP whiskey. Thank you to all the people that are sourcing the crap out of the 4 and 5 year old at cast strength. But 4 and 5 year old MGP whiskey at cast strength, which this is not, it's 92 proof, smells a lot different than this smells. And so in that way, it's actually unique in a good way because I'm kind of sick of the 109 220 proof 4 to 5 year old MGP nose. Like it's just played out. It's tired. It's so similar. So this is actually kind of unique.
Now, I think something that this company does is don't they kind of hoochify their whiskey? They put a bunch of fruit in there or something during the...
Do they do that?
During the process?
I'm not sure. Do they actually do that?
I thought they did.
If they do, and that might be the case.
I don't know if it's maybe this bottle or maybe they have other
releases where they like
apple
stuff.
Or some sort of flavored.
I think you're right. Maybe they do that for other stuff.
Okay.
Picking up like very faint flavors of other things. I mean, there's a little bit of ethanol in the nose too, and there's a little bit of a unsettled kind of sharp oak, I guess I would call it. When I say unsettled, it's been a while since I've called the sharp oak note out, but I can definitely get it on this one. It's like a freshly laid, I want to say like a back deck when you got somebody out there cutting lumber, not quite the sharpness of the blade cutting through, just a fresh cut smell. Yeah, a little bit of fresh cut.
I get that, yeah.
But all in all, like I'm surprised, like not super grainy, not anything unpleasant on the nose. It's actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
So I recently read that, so I was confused when you told me we were doing this bottle tonight. I literally knew nothing about Clyde May's, like zero.
Right.
All I knew was associated with Alabama, which was intriguing to me because I know there's a lot of states producing a lot of whiskey, but I don't know Alabama to be a big whiskey producing state. So it's not shocking to me that I found that most of their stuff is sourced and that they're not doing that. But did you hear recently that they're supposed to be breaking ground on a new distillery and everything like pretty soon in Troy, Alabama?
For Clyde May's?
Yeah, they're actually going to create like a Clyde May's visitor experience.
Oh wow,
I believe.
the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I actually was able to find some. It looked like they actually like kind of bid it out for marketing purposes, and like they're trying to grow the tourism angle. And I actually think it's kind of cool, even though I don't know. I'm still kind of like confused about how a sourced whiskey and mostly sourced stuff becomes like the identity of Alabama. But then again, if they're the biggest ones in Alabama producing, then maybe we need to do more research about the state.
Maybe.
Southern distilleries, I wonder how the climate would impact when they do end up start distilling, if it's being hot all the time, if that's going to be better or
maybe
worse.
That's why they're sourcing it. Well, should we go for our first taste?
Sure.
That's an easy drink.
It is. It's actually not abrasive. There isn't a lot of bad flavor. It just kind of hits the palate and it's smooth straight through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't often say smooth. I think smooth is a descriptor that people overuse a lot, and we've been, careful about our use of that word. But there's really nothing unpleasant. I mean, faint vanilla flavors to me, a little bit of oak, a little bit of young oak, but it's sweet. And it's just kind of like, it's got me kind of wondering why more of these companies that are getting 4 and 5 year old MGP aren't cutting it a little bit more. Because this is actually more pleasant than some of the 4-year-old 116 proof stuff I've tasted. It's like rocket fuel, lighter fluid, dump it onto fire. But it tastes pretty good.
Basically, your description of the flavor was that nothing extraordinary, nothing, unexpected.
Yeah, nothing stands out.
Yeah,
and actually the finish, I think it was a couple episodes ago when we talked about Old Charter where it kind of just hit your mouth and it dissipated and went to nothing.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this is. But if it dissipates and goes to nothing, it's not going to anything sharp or terrible that doesn't taste good. It just kind of leaves you going, well, I could have another glass of whiskey and I might not taste it.
I'm glad your palate is matching up with my description over the episodes.
Yeah, it's well, I don't think I could phrase it as eloquently as you did, but it's just not super complex.
No,
not a long finish.
So speaking of MGP, how would you, like you just said, like a higher proof offering, like a Nulu?
Oh yeah, Nulu.
How do you like this compared to the Nulu that we tried?
I think I like this better, actually.
Yeah.
Like the Nulu, I remember that being very caramel forward and being caramel throughout and caramel. But I think I like this slightly better. I'm not loving it, but I do.
But you're not hating it.
I'm not hating it either.
Right.
Kind of like I was with the Charter.
Yeah.
Where like once you get to such a watered down bourbon, what are you going for? Or am I going to grab this to sip it?
You're saying it's watered down?
A little bit.
92 proof? You're saying it's watered down?
It's muted. I mean...
I'm muted, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's muted compared to what I'm used to tasting from MGP at this proof because it's really hot right now to have cask strength MGP. And
yeah.
that's, like I said, usually between 110 and 120, 108, 120 at minimum. So that's the tough part.
Yeah.
So, Stephen, one thing that has occurred to me, and we've been talking about a lot, but I've been seeing a lot of the marketing emails, is the fact that fall bourbon release season is now upon us.
Yeah.
It's here.
Yeah.
We look forward to it every year, and I know in the previous year we talked about our highlight list, things that we really want or we're hoping to get out of fall bourbon release season. I know I've been on record saying I could buy everything if I could, but I'm not going to have the chance to buy all of it. But I've seen marketing emails from Four Roses, from Brown Foreman. I know that Birthday Bourbon is releasing here, or has released, or it will, be releasing here soon. And I'm caught up in the hysteria. I'm like going to have dreams about it. Do you ever have dreams about bourbon, or are you thinking about this, or is that too intense for you?
That's too intense.
It's too intense.
Yeah, it's too intense.
Maybe.
But going off, I would say the past year of the stuff we tried. 2 bottles that I'll be looking forward to if I can, make it to a store.
Yeah.
Who knows if I can or not. Mm-hmm. But I'd like to get a birthday bourbon.
Okay.
And a little book.
Those are aspirational goals that I don't think are really that terrible.
And hopefully there's enough of them that, I might be able to get. I think I would probably have better luck on a little book than a birthday.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But, that is just all, yeah.
Yeah, and you really never know. Like, I mean, you could be at the right place at the right time. I know last year here in Lexington, there was folks that walked into Costco on, I think, a Sunday or a Wednesday. I can't remember which day it was. And they literally walked into a manager putting out birthday bourbon. I knew one of those people. I think it was Wilt. Big shout out to Wilt the Stilt. But Michael Wilt, my buddy, had walked into a Costco and ran into, I think, a birthday bourbon. If I got that wrong, then he can correct me. But I know somebody that walked in and got a birthday bourbon at retail off the shelf, like the biggest score ever, which...
No doubt.
Yeah, nothing, doesn't happen. But it's possible. If that happened to him, it's possible it could happen to you.
And just remember, you don't need a membership at Costco to shop at the liquor store.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's a big misconception a lot of people have. They think that if they're not Costco members...
Because I'm not a member and I bought there.
Oh, yeah, me too.
There you go.
yeah, they sell a lot. But I'm trying to think what would be my top of my list. Like, I really think that right now, when I look at fall release season, of course, anybody that can get... You can get a BTAC or Pappy. But I really think the one
those aren't obtainable, I don't think.
Become the one that I really try to get my hands on is King Kentucky, because that's been a very consistent release. And when I say consistent, I mean consistently reviewed well and liked. I've had to try it one time, and it was delicious.
What year did you try?
I tried it 2020, and I couldn't give you the details of the barrel because I don't remember that specifically. There's a lot of variance between the barrels. They have short barrels and everything. But I have a bottle at home. I have a 2021. And I really hope that I can double up this year and get a 2022. I haven't opened my 21, but if I got a 22, it would be a lot easier to open it and then have it on a podcast. So,
fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Everybody in this room is praying right now. Mostly Steve and Noemi too. But I'm hoping that we can get our hands on some good fall releases, and I know you guys are hoping the same as well. I know we can't give you pointers. We gave you the pointers in the past about making friends with liquor store owners and stuff, but like anymore, it's like, you know, people will take care of you if they want to take care of you, but for the most part, it's a dog eat dog kind of game out there, and it's tough. It's getting really tough to get these limited releases.
Yeah, it's hard about these massive lotteries now to even have a hope to get something.
And you know what else? And it is hard to get one, but I hope that they bring back in-person lotteries, because I feel like that at least made me feel better to hang around with friends and have the camaraderie of other people. Yeah, the event
like
is
a big
fun.
group.
Yeah, if that comes back, that's great. If not, then I just hope we can net something. And as always, I hope anybody out there that gets stuff, I hope you're getting it to drink it and not to like just max profit it. Yeah. And if you get it and you're not gonna drink it, trade it for something you do want to drink. Max profits is just like not cool.
Because I could tell you, just from probably my best bottle is the William Lou 18 that I have.
Yeah, and you've been enjoying that.
I've enjoyed it. I still have some left.
Yep,
and it's nice to have that for, you know, that special pour.
Yep.
Even though I think 6 months after I got it, that shot through the roof on secondary.
Oh, absolutely.
That specific bottle. So,
in sharing my own experiences real quick, I also just recently finished my William Lou Weller, which was a 17, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I will just say that I opened that bottle with my cousin on Christmas, which was amazing, and we both enjoyed it.
This past Christmas?
Many years ago, 17, whatever
so you
it was.
Enjoyed it.
As soon as I got it,
you've had a while to enjoy it.
Had it for a while and opened it, and the whole thing about like, well, you got to drink it or it's going to go bad or whatever.
No.
I enjoyed it with friends. I took it to tastings. That bottle got a lot of miles on it, and then when I finally drank it was a friend of mine recently had a family member pass away, and so he had stopped over, and I had a little bit left, enough for 2 pours.
Yep.
And I said, hey,
perfect.
Let's drink this and have a toast to your cousin. And he appreciated it, and I appreciated the moment, of course. And I just thought to myself, like, there's more memories in that bottle than any bottle that I've ever drank. But that bottle meant a lot to me, and so that's what you should do with your bottles. If you're lucky enough to get some for this fall.
You spend the $150 or $100 on the bottle, and you get, you know, a handful of years of good memories out of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Once in a lifetime memories.
Exactly.
From the pour. So
100%. So
I'm all for keeping and enjoying.
That's what we're all about.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Anthony, would you pass, try, or buy on the Clyde May's straight bourbon whiskey?
I'm going to give you an in-between here, okay? I am a pass try.
Oh.
And here's the thing.
So is that a pass plus or try minus?
It's a that's a good way of putting it. I'm probably going to be a pass plus.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm a pass plus and not a try minus, if I can, is because this seems a little bit expensive to me.
Mm-hmm.
Not the way you got it. Thank you very much.
Right.
But if I had to pay close to $50 for a pick of this at 92 proof, I would be I'm not going to say to be disappointed, because I've had worse at the price.
Mm-hmm.
But I would just be underwhelmed to a point where I would say, like, I don't really see a need to go buy another one of these.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm a pass plus, but I want to hear why you might be a try minus.
No, I think you hit it on the head. I'm just going to be a pass on this.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess I've had the enjoyment of this because I had the pick version of this for a hefty discount. And I've gotten miles out of the joke, but the joke still stands because your experience has been what I've expressed over these podcasts, that it's just a vanilla bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing extraordinary, nothing underwhelming.
Yeah.
It's just there. And it exists. So for the money, there are plenty of other objects that exist for that. And
absolutely.
So I'm just going to be a pass on this.
So I'm sure those of you who have been listening to us and been with us for the long haul now, over 75 plus episodes, noticed that we've had times where we recorded as a duo and times we recorded as a trio. And even though we remain close with Michael and still text with him and everything like that, he hasn't been able to come back for numerous reasons, and nothing's going on. Like, we're just, happy family of friends still. But in recent weeks, we've been talking about potentially having another person come onto the podcast to sort of maintain that magic that we had with three people, even though Stephen and I enjoy each other's company and doing this every week. And so we just wanted to kind of give you a signpost there and tell you that in future weeks, we might be looking forward to welcoming, potentially, we've been in talks with a couple of people to potentially come on the show. Yep.
We're excited. I think we're going to meet up with one or two of these people.
Yep.
And just kind of feel the vibe and, where the show can go from here. And hopefully in maybe the coming weeks or month-ish,
yep,
you might hear a third voice.
Yeah, and if you do, we hope you like it. And I was going to say, one thing that we will say is that we've always fashioned this podcast to be for the everyday person who's exploring bourbon that isn't, connected to the industry. And, we do have our fair amount of connections, but, we're not interviewing guests all the time on here. And we are mostly just, doing this from the heart and talking about what we feel when we drink these various bourbons. And so we're happy to bring that to you, and we're hoping that we can bring somebody else along with us on this journey.
Exactly. Hopefully the next person will bring humor and insight and knowledge.
No doubt. We'll really be looking forward to that, and hopefully you will too.
Yep. And with that, thanks for listening to this week's edition. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY. Also, let us know your thoughts and spot in the comment section. Until next time, keep it neat.